Welcome back, Pokemon fans, to the 2016 Pokemon National Championships. My name is Dui Ha, and joining me on stage is Aaron Cybertron Zhang, and we are ready to get underway to crown a new Senior National Championship in the video game.
I'm so excited. This division means a lot to me, so I'm very excited to see who takes it home.
I mean, you definitely know a lot about playing in the senior divisions, especially in the national finals. I mean, how many times did you win?
Only twice.
Twice?
But not in Masters.
It's not a three-peat, right?
It's not. It's no Ray Rizzo.
Yeah, and we just saw Enzo Recchi defeat Corey Connor, and I actually heard a part of that interview where he told me that, he told you that he didn't know who Corey was. He didn't know that he was a 2014 champion. That's exactly kind of the way you should be going into battles, right?
It helps, right? You don't have all that added pressure because you're already fighting in such a large crowd for a national title. Knowing that your opponent has won that title before just adds to that stress. But this is going to be a really exciting matchup because we actually have another ex-national champion in the lineup.
Oh, yeah. Of course, he was the 2013 TCG
trading card game
champion. He also was in the finals last year, and he was runner-up.
Yep, Carson St. Dennis is probably one of the highest profile seniors in the country. Phenomenal player. I believe came into this tournament with almost all the maximum championship points you could even have. I believe he won 3 regionals, all the premier challenges in his area, and maybe performed very well at the international challenge level as well. So Carson is no stranger to competition. He's here back again fighting for a video game national title after getting second last year.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that he wants his title really badly, especially after last year.
Yeah.
Of course, he was probably the favorite going into last year, and I think that he might actually be one of the favorites coming into this year's championships as well. Against Merab Samad, who you know about. He's actually from your area. You know a lot about him. As we go ahead and pull up the bracket, both players had a tough road to get here. We see Merab actually had to defeat Bo Berg, former junior national champion.
2013 junior.
2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Carson St. Dennis actually had to beat somebody that you know pretty well, Brendan Zhang.
Yep.
And it's such a tough top cut here in the senior division. I'm not exactly sure how many. 24 players made it to the top cut,
yep,
right?
That's correct.
And, a couple players got buys. Some people had to play in. Carson actually got a buy. I'm not sure if Merab actually got a buy earlier on. He did not. He actually had to play 1 extra match more than Carson.
He did, and that adds to all the stress, right? Each best of 3 matters so much at this point in the tournament. But Merab has been a phenomenal player. He's actually from the New York area, which I'm from, and I've been able to talk to him. And he's an incredible, energetic kid. I believe he was actually in the top 8 of the national championships last year as well.
I remember seeing him do extremely well last year as well.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal player, and this actually, I think, is his last year in the seniors division, whereas Carson actually has yet another year. So if you're Merab, you really want this title because it's the last chance you'll get at fighting for a national championship in seniors.
Yeah, and Carson St. Dennis is going to put up a great battle between Merab because, I mean, looking at the team composition, I'm actually really impressed at Carson's team. It's actually a core that we haven't seen much of.
We've been talking a lot about it in Masters, actually, how, we see all these Groudon Xerneas. Of course, we just saw Groudon Xerneas win the juniors division, and how we expected maybe a little bit more Rayquaza Kyogre. There were 2 players in the top 12 who were using that Rayquaza Kyogre combination, and Carson is actually rocking Rayquaza Kyogre with some old fan favorites.
Hitmontop is on his team. That's probably one of my favorite Pokemons, using it all the way back in 2010. Of course, your favorite Pokemon, Scizor, is also on Carson St. Dennis's team too. So a very cool, tricked out team right there. We also see Togekiss on Carson's team too, which provides a lot of tailwind support. We saw a lot of this type of team with Hitmontop, Rayquaza, Kyogre over in Europe during their national championships, actually.
Absolutely, and I think one thing that's really funny to me was in 2012, the U.S. Senior National Championship actually featured Hitmontop, Scizor, Thundurus, and Togekiss. So those 4 Pokemon were all in the finals that year. Now we have Rayquaza and Kyogre as some new faces.
2012, I wonder who's piloting that Scizor to that national championship right there. We do see Merab's team right there on screen. He did top 8 the 2011 national championships.
That should be 2015.
2015, and he won regionals this year too. So a tough player, tough competitor in Merab. As we see his team, a very kind of standardish team with the Xerneas and Primal Groudon core. He does have some cool tricks up his sleeve with Weavile.
Yeah.
I'm actually really interested to see how it performs. It's a frail, hard-hitting Pokemon that has great typing, although the only issue is, of course, Xerneas is right there, right?
I think Weavile definitely sticks out to me the most on this composition because typically we see that slot being occupied by a Talonflame, a Bronzong, or a Cresselia. Of course, we just saw in the juniors division Enzo winning with the team composition with Cresselia over Weavile. But
I believe it was a Talonflame.
Yes, sorry.
Talonflame.
But these teams are always built so differently in terms of how you're trained, in terms of your Pokemon, what sets you have. And that Weavile could make a big difference here because it does have a pretty nice matchup matchup against Rayquaza, Thundurus, and Togekiss. Carson's team is, of course, Kyogre, Rayquaza, Hitmontop, Scizor, Thundurus, and Togekiss. You see his screen displayed up here. First in regionals. I believe he's won so many regional championships already. Like, he's always been one of the top competitors in the seniors division, getting second place in the video game championships last year. He is here once again in the finals, and it's really rare to see players make 2 finals in a row.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see exactly how this team plays up against Marab's more standard team, right?
Yeah, and I think if you're Carson, you actually probably like this matchup a little bit. The Rayogre, in particular, you can easily one-hit KO that Groudon, and Rayquaza has that airlock ability. But the Scizor is actually, one of my favorite Pokemon, and one Pokemon that actually has a really good matchup against Xerneas and Weavile. That fast priority Bullet Punch. If Xerneas gets a Geomancy at any point, normally for most teams, that's over. But for Scizor here, you can just bring in your Scizor and 2-hit KO it with the Bullet Punch, and that's a really big deal. It looks like we're going to get straight into team preview.
Yeah, and again, that team right there with that Scizor going to be able to provide a lot of support, a lot of, kind of scaring away that Xerneas from staying in. Of course, Hitmontop with great utility in that Intimidate.
Yep.
Hits pretty hard with a fighting type attack, can kind of check that Kangaskhan on
Yeah.
Marab's side. So a lot of good checks and counters. Carson's going to have to kind of read and react to Marab's team right here and kind of try to predict what those leads are going to be as both players are ready to go.
Let's get some hype. Everyone clap it up for these 2 competitors. It's going to be a really, really, really good finals. I'm expecting big things.
And we do see Thundurus and Scizor come out for Carson St. Dennis, your favorite Pokemon, I believe, Aaron. And we do see Smeargle and Xerneas leads out for Marab, much more standard lead than what we see out on Carson St. Dennis' side, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love the Scizor pick here on Carson's end, but it's actually a really, really strong lead. I think Scizor puts on a lot of pressure against both Xerneas and Smeargle. Scizor's a Pokemon where you don't entirely know the moveset either. Sometimes it could carry Feint, and that's something you have to be aware of, because if you Feint and Thunderbolt into Smeargle, you could actually pick up the knockout there, most likely. A Thundurus here, of course, threatens with the Taunt onto Smeargle or the Thunder Wave for Taunt onto Xerneas, but we actually see a Crafty Shield.
And that's a good utility move that a lot of Smeargles are now carrying to prevent any sort of non-damaging attacks from hitting your team. The Taunt is blocked by that Crafty Shield, and Xerneas goes for the Geomancy here. Gonna go ahead and set up in the face of danger of that Scizor right there, but Scizor is not gonna go ahead and go straight for the Bullet Punch. What is Scizor gonna do? Maybe set up a Swords Dance, kind of follow up with some boost right here. Xerneas now does get the boost in special defense, special attack, and speed.
Come on,
but
give me a Swords Dance.
Is Scizor going to go for a Swords Dance right here? Scizor does go for a Swords Dance. Big Swords Dance right there. Going to go ahead and go 2 stages of increased attack, and now, this Xerneas might be able to get knocked out by this Bullet Punch.
I am so excited. I mean, Swords Dances are probably my favorite set in Pokemon of all time. A really, really clever Crafty Shield there, but if you're Carson, you're probably on the better end, and we're getting right into this next turn.
And we do see the Follow Me from Smeargle come out. Thundurus now goes for the Taunt, going to prevent Smeargle from being able to do any of that stuff again, as Scizor goes for the Bullet Punch, gonna get redirected in that Smeargle. Gonna be enough to, hangs on with the Focus Sash right there. Smeargles usually carry Focus Sash or Mental Up. Unfortunately, it is the Focus Sash here, as Xerneas goes for a Dazzling Gleam, as we do see the Life Orb revealed on that Scizor. Big damage on that Thundurus, picks up the KO. Scizor now in danger of getting KO'd as well.
Yeah, so I thought Marab has actually maneuvered this really well. Even though the Swords Dance play on turn 1 was really big, we saw that the Smeargle does have Follow Me, and that's the game changer.
And this is big right here. Rayquaza
it is actually, yeah.
has access to extreme speed, can easily pick off that Smeargle.
Before the Scizor's Bullet Punch, right? You want to redirect Smeargle using Follow Me, but because the priority for Bullet Punch, and because Rayquaza is faster, Extreme Speed can just go into Smeargle and you can just Bullet Punch Xerneas, so no longer does Marab have that protection. Of course, Smeargle is taunted here as well, so if you're Marab, you might be considering protecting your Xerneas and switching out. This is a big turn for Carson. Even though that last turn didn't go out too well, he still has that +2 Scizor and has a lot of offensive pressure, but no switch outs.
And Rayquaza is going to go ahead and Mega Evolve. A lot of players opt to have other Mega Pokemon on their side, but unfortunately for Carson, I think Rayquaza is really the only Pokemon that might be Mega Evolving here today, as the Delta Stream does come out, going to prevent any super effective attacks towards flying types. And we do see Xerneas protect itself, not going to want to risk taking a Bullet Punch here, as Scizor does go for a Bullet Punch into that protect. Rayquaza sets up with a Swords Dance. Dancing on Carson's side right here. Smeargle is going to be able to move here, as it is struggling right here. Gonna go ahead and hit that Scizor and gonna knock itself out.
Wow, that was a really nice play there by Carson.
I forgot about the taunt.
Yeah, so that taunt was the big difference, right? Marab's like, okay, I'm just gonna let you knock this out so I get a free switch in, and normally that works out pretty nicely, but, Carson made that safe play. I know I can bullet punch this Xerneas because I'm at +2 and because, the Intimidate switch in here actually would have been pretty nice if you were Marab last turn. Like, if you switch Smeargle to Salamence and Dazzling Gleam, that could have been really nice. But of course, if you're Marab, you're a little bit scared because of the bullet punch priority. However, now bullet punch, of course, its damage will be reduced. As for Quazzas, they're all both at +1 attack, but still a really, really good position for Carson because, you could potentially double up into this Xerneas with the bullet punch and an extreme speed. The only main concern is now the Salamence threatens with Hyper Voice, and Hyper Voice does so much damage, and it's naturally faster, but Rayquaza should be faster than Salamence for this one turn.
Yeah, and that's one thing about, choosing when you Mega Evolve your Pokemon, as
Exactly.
Salamence does Mega Evolve here. Scissor goes for the Bullet Punch, going to go ahead and take her down to Xerneas. Is it going to be able to pick up the KO?
It does! It picks up the
KO!
knockout!
Huge KO right there from that Scissor. Huge Bullet Punch, even at only one stage of increased attack, thanks to that Life Orb, most likely.
And it gets the Dragon Ascent off because Rayquaza is the Mega Evolution and Salamence has not Mega Evolved this turn. Dragon Ascent will come out, will pick up the one-hit knockout onto Salamence. What an incredible game and incredible start by Carson.
You see, dancing is actually very important.
Man, I did not think I'd see a Swords Dance Scissor, kicking this much butt in the finals, but here it is. Now Carson has 3 Pokemon to Marab's last one, and Rayquaza should be faster than Groudon, so we should see Carson win this first game, but phenomenal play. I thought Carson was making the safest plays possible, but because he has that Scizor, he naturally, I think, has the better matchup here. You cannot just carelessly bring your Xerneas in, because yeah, Xerneas was able to get that Geomancy boost, and it was protected by Smeargle, but once that Smeargle went down, that taunt, was the game changer. You can't Crafty Shield and go for a Dark Void or a Follow Me all at the same time. You only get that one move. So because of that, Carson was able to get these Swords Dances off on both of his Pokemon, and he's going to be able to take the first win in, I thought, a phenomenally played game.
And you can't blame Marab for that.
You can't.
Obviously came down to a prediction right there. Is he going to go for me and target down my Salamence that turn, or do you think I can maybe kind of
Hope for a double target, right?
Sneak around it a little bit.
Yeah.
So, Marab was definitely expecting to be able to sneak around, but unfortunately, Carson kind of saw right through that. As we go right back into team preview, both players are ready to go. Marab's going to have to make some adjustments here.
Absolutely. I mean, we got some good information from that. I'm not sure if it's a damage roll with that Scizor, but at even +1 attack, it still picks up the knockout with that Bullet Punch. So that's something Marab has to be scared of at this point. That Bullet Punch does so much damage, indicating that Marab's Xerneas is probably not on the bulkier spectrum. We saw by its HP stat, too. It doesn't have, as much as we see on the bulkier, slower Xerneas.
Yeah, and, I don't think we never saw Carson's last Pokemon. It's most likely Kyogre. But
yeah.
even then, if Groudon somehow made a comeback, Kyogre could just come in and change the weather. And both players selected the teams pretty quickly, and we're ready to get underway here. Game 2 of the 2016 Pokemon Video Game National Championships. We are in the senior finals now.
Let's get hype it up.
This is it. Carson St. Dennis now trying to get that championship that eluded him last year. Is he going to be able to do it? We do see the same leads in Thundurus and Scizor out for Carson St. Dennis. Marab going to go Smeargle and Xerneas, exact same leads, but Marab's going to have to try to maneuver out of this one right here.
Yeah, I mean, same thing, but it didn't work out too well last game for Marab, right? Carson had the setup. He had the safe plays. He didn't even have to go for any risky predictions because that Swords Dance was so safe here. The Crafty Shield's a nice way to stop the taunt, but, that Scizor here still threatens with his Swords Dance, but this time Xerneas realizes, okay, even if I get the Geomancy boost, not going to help me too out. So Marab's going to make a smart adjustment here and bring in one of the best checks to Scizor in this format.
And Thundurus as well, unless that Thundurus is carrying a Water-type hidden power.
Yep.
We do see Groudon now revert back to its primal form, going to go ahead and bring out the Harsh Sunlight due to its Desolate Land ability, and we're going to have to see what Smeargle does right here. It might have to switch out as well. Actually, no, it's not going to switch out, but it's going to have to do something to... Okay, there you go. The Spike is going to prevent the taunt. You don't want to get taunted right away and just struggle. And we do see Thundurus now does go for the taunt in that Spiky Shield as Scizor sets up another Swords Dance, but unfortunately for Carson, not the position that it wants to be in because Groudon is now in instead of that Xerneas.
Yeah, this is kind of funny. It's kind of like the opposite of how the last game played out because last time it was Geomancy, setting up Xerneas, and then so suddenly Xerneas is still threatened by this one Pokemon that can effectively knock it out in one hit. This time Groudon out threatens the Scizor. No switch outs here though. We just see a Bullet Punch.
Gonna go for the Bullet Punch on the Smeargle. Smeargle hangs on with just one hit point. Thundurus did not move yet. So we're going to have to see what happens here. Thundurus goes for a Thunderbolt, going to go ahead and pick up the KO on Smeargle. Safe play right there from Carson's side to just go ahead and remove that Smeargle threat.
Do we see a Fire Punch?
And Groudon does go for a Fire Punch. That should pick up the one-hit KO on that Scizor. 4 times super effective in the sun. Yeah, that Scissor's going back to the Pokeball right away.
I thought Marab's had made some really good adjustments there. You obviously might be a little bit scared of the Kyogre switch in here, but Marab knows that I have the Focus Sash on Smeargle. So if Thunder switches out into Kyogre, then I can still, not get my Fire Punch off, but then I get a Dark Void off. And that means now your Scizor and Kyogre are both asleep. And most likely he was going for that Dark Void play.
And we do see Kyogre switch in right now for Carson's side. It is going to go ahead Primal Revert back to its Primal Form, gonna go ahead and bring out the Harsh Rain, the Heavy Rain instead. Gonna go ahead and make any fire type attacks fizzle out as Kangaskhan does come out from Marab's side. You know, gonna provide some fake out support right there.
Yeah, if I'm Carson, I'm probably still pretty content about my position. Sure, I lost my Scizor, which was my best answer to Lazernius, but Xerneas isn't that big of a threat until it gets the Geomancy boost. Of course, Fairy type attacks do so much against Thundurus, Kyogre, and Rayquaza, but if that Rayquaza is carrying a Focus Sash, you can just Dragon Ascent to maybe extreme speed. The Xerneas has already shown that it's not very bulky, and no switch outs once again.
And Kangaskhan now Mega Evolving on Marab's side. Gonna go ahead and get that Parental Bond ability, gonna do some massive damage right here, I believe, as we do see Kangaskhan now faking out the Kyogre, or yeah, the Kyogre right there. Not going to let it move. Ooh,
so
big
much damage. Wow.
A very frail Kyogre coming out as we do see Thunder Wave from Thunder is going to go ahead and paralyze that Kangaskhan.
Here's
now
the Precipice Blades, I think, right?
Yeah, here, I think.
Maybe
here,
oh,
flinch,
it's faster.
flinch.
Oh,
Okay.
but the substitute.
All right, all right. So the Kyogre is actually fast, Kyogre.
Yep.
I mean, we saw the Groudon's hit point stat, 176.
I
That's
think
gonna
this
mean
might be a
it's a
speed
frail
tie.
speed tie, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how much damage that Kyogre took from that fake out alone, how much he took from Precipice Blades. So Marab not opting to Precipice Blades there. He did reveal that he now does have substitute because, you know, if the Kyogre is definitely not going to be attacking, so you get to block yourself up for this one time, and now even if Kyogre wins the speed tie, you can still attack. But the issue is if Thundurus has a hidden power, maybe it could actually knock out the Groudon substitute, but Kyogre is actually going to swap out right now.
Not going to want to possibly play that speed tie again or even take massive damage from that Kangaskhan as Rayquaza is going to go ahead and switch in right now. Marab still in good position as Kangaskhan is going to switch back, going to save that fake out utility for later. And Xerneas is going to come in, kind of an awkward matchup right here. What is going to happen on the field as the Fairy Aura gets exerted? The Thundurus now goes for a Thunderbolt, going to target down that Xerneas, going to do a little bit of damage right there, but Xerneas is a pretty bulky Pokemon as Groudon goes for a Precipice Blades into nothing because both Pokemon are flying types.
Yeah, really nice switch in there, but as a result, Thundurus and Rayquaza don't take any damage, and Carson basically gets some repositioning. Rayquaza now is able to come in, and Kyogre, of course, still an imminent threat in the back, especially with Kangaskhan being paralyzed. But the Groudon substitute here is a big deal. Xerneas, however, is also looking like a really big threat. Depending on how fast the Xerneas is, we've seen that it's already pretty fast, so before Rayquaza Mega Evolve, Xerneas should actually be able to outspeed it and get some good damage off.
Yeah, and Groudon behind a substitute is actually pretty scary. Against this Rayquaza, it's actually, a physical Rayquaza we've seen, and Groudon's actually pretty bulky, but Marab's just going to switch out, going to sacrifice that substitute to get the Kangaskhan in.
Yeah, and Kangaskhan is really healthy, so I can see where Marab's going with this. The question is, does Xerneas protect here, or does he just go for some free damage? Because a Fairy is such a good typing against both the Thundurus and the Rayquaza. If you're going to eliminate the Rayquaza before the Groudon comes back in, then Marab will have control of the weather, and that's also a big deal in this game.
And we do see the Delta Stream come up. That's going to be an interesting choice right there because Delta Stream is not as permanent as Airlock because Delta Stream can easily be switched away.
Xerneas protects, though.
Rayquaza also protects here. Kangaskhan and Thundurus are going to be the only ones to move now as we do see Thundurus go for a Thunder Wave onto that Xerneas slot, protected right there. And, of course, Kangaskhan just switched in.
Yep, so if you're Marab, you definitely got the better end of the trade-off there. Carson was just hoping that you would maybe try to Geomancy with Xerneas or get an attack off and get a free Thunder Wave. But now the Kangaskhan actually exerts fake-out pressure, so you could fake out the Thundurus and maybe go for a Geomancy or maybe just go for an attack at this point since you're frailer. And I kind of surprised to see Rayquaza switch out there. I was maybe expecting a Dragon Ascent onto that Xerneas, but Kyogre's going to be coming back in.
Yeah, Kyogre going to go ahead and bring the rain again. Like I said, that Delta Stream is a good ability, but at the same time, now you're going to have to kind of switch your Pokemon incorrectly to be able to get the weather that you want. Xerneas now going to switch out. Unfortunately, that's going to be the Groudon switch. That's going to go ahead and change the weather back to sunlight. That's exactly what I almost kind of tried to say.
Right.
As Groudon comes in, brings out the sun. Now Rayquaza comes in and changes the weather back to the Delta Stream. But then, of course, they can just switch out and have the weather reset. Thundurus now Thunderbolt onto Kangaskhan. Huge damage. Kangaskhan paralyzed.
That's a big deal. I should actually take back a little bit what I said earlier where I was like, oh, why didn't we just see a Dragon Ascent onto Xerneas? That's because of the prediction there that Kangaskhan wouldn't fake out and Xerneas wouldn't try to just go for a Dazzling Gleam. That's a really unfortunate full paralysis on Marab's end. You'd imagine he's going for a double edge onto Thundurus or the Kyogre slot to pick up the knockout. So Carson's definitely in a pretty good position right now, the Kangaskhan being paralyzed. But the thing is, we do know the Kyogre and the Groudon speed tie. We don't see any switch outs here, though. Kyogre actually just opts for a Protect.
Not going to want to try to reset the weather just yet, as Thundurus now goes for another Thunderbolt onto that Kangaskhan slot. Should not be enough to pick up the KO. Hangs on with 13 hit points as Groudon goes for Precipice Blades into the flying Thundurus, as Kangaskhan now gets to go for a double edge here. Going to go ahead and connect on that Thundurus. Huge damage right there. Ooh! Picks up the one-hit KO right there. big knockout right there from Merab's Kangaskhan.
It does. We do see knockouts being traded here, but now the Rayquaza will come in, and Groudon doesn't really appreciate being against the Kyogre that can use its water types against it. Of course, there is Xerneas in the back as well, so a lot of this will come down to how these Pokemon are kind of built. You know, it's not much of a surprise. I think we are kind of expecting all the Pokemon to be maybe max speed, as opposed to their bulkier variants here. Xerneas, of course, has taken a lot of damage, though, so if you are Carson right now, you have to question, you know, do I just Dragon Ascent the Xerneas, and do I just go for a Water Spout or an Origin Pulse? You know, Xerneas, of course, threatens both Rayquaza and Kyogre, but it's going to be slower than that Rayquaza most likely right now. I think if you're Carson, you don't mind this position too much, but the other issue is the Kyogre could get knocked out by a Precipice Blades. However, I think Carson's definitely on the upper end right now.
Xerneas on Merab's side going to protect itself, not going to want to risk taking a Dragon Ascent right now, as the Dragon Ascent does go into the Protect, and
There's
Kyogre
the
goes for
Scald!
Scald! No miss whatsoever. The Scald connects onto the ground, picks up the one-hit KO onto the Groudon, and it looks like Merab has already extended his hand, because right now it's going to be Xerneas versus Rayquaza and Kyogre. Xerneas is already heavily damaged. It looks like Merab is ready to go ahead and click the forfeit button, and that is it. Carson St. Denis is your 2016 Pokemon video game senior national champion, piloting that Rayquaza Kyogre team that we so desperately talked about. And now it's finally won a championship here in the senior division.
Phenomenally played as well. I mean, so much credit to Carson, because that first game, it was just a clear sweep. He knew what he had to do. He knew how good that Scissor was, and Merab was not able to really adjust to that. And, you know, we just saw Scissor and Rayquaza kind of clean through Merab's team. That's why they're so good on this team composition. And it's why, you know, Carson has demonstrated that Groudon Xerneas can easily be beatable if I have the right members of the team. We didn't even get to see him on top or Togekiss, but that didn't matter. It was the Scissor putting on so much pressure from the start. Kyogre always threatening with the water type attack, especially with Rayquaza's Airlock and Delta Stream when it's Mega Form. And then Thunder is obviously very clutch with that taunt too, being able to shut down Smeargle at points if needed, and, you know, blocking the Follow Me at point.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm joined here by our top 2 placers in this extremely exciting tournament. In second place, we have Merab. Please give it up for him. An impressive showing, second place at such a big tournament, amazing. And in first place, we have Carson.
Carson, congratulations. Seen you up here before.
So, Carson, do you have any words for the audience? Any words you want to say to people that might be starting out this game recently?
West Coast, best coast.
I concur. Anything else you want to add?
Scissor was good.
Well, congratulations again, Carson. And give it up for everyone in this tournament. What an amazing tournament for...
All right.
And we're going to take a quick break. Thanks very much for joining us.